The time bit, however, is merely conceptual.
But the depth, you can have a...
Oh, back to the depth. Time! Fourth time I've said it to him.
There's no length in width, is there?
No, we're talking about space-time. The fake bullshit medium made up by Einstein that's not a fabric and doesn't exist, can't attribute a colour, and you can't tell me how much there is in a cubic metre. So we're not talking about length and breadth for the fifth time.
There's no length in breadth, is there?
No, time.
Or something.
None of the ball is going to tell us how we're moving.
What do you think the colour of
Rotating.
air is, or oxygen is? Or a magnetic field, what colour's that? Or electric field, what colour's that?
What color is space-time?
Yeah, so what colour's oxygen? What colour's an electric field?
That's not
What colour's
space-time.
magnetic?
That's a false equivalence.
What color is space-time, though?
What colour space-time was the question?
Yeah, that's my point. It's a stupid question. Just like, otherwise I'm going to ask you what colour glass is, or oxygen, or water vapour.
Well, why is it a stupid question, though, Robert? To ask what color space-time is. Why is that stupid?
Tell me what the colour of electric field is.
Actually, there's a football field here sponsored by electric company. So
yes, they're being extra stupid. What's the colour of an electric
But we're
field?
talking about space-time, Rumpus. Why is it a stupid question to ask what color is
Just
space-time?
one of you's got to concede. Look, just have some humility. Concede. He's right. He's got a fair point. I'm backing you.
Don't have colour, but
I'm
are
backing
real.
you up. Yeah, I'm backing you up, Rumpus. I'm saying one of them's got to have some humility and concede you're right.
Good.
well, I could hold a glass of water, and I could feel air, but space-time.
Can you feel an electric field?
He's asking about colour,
we're
10th
talking
man.
space-time.
One of you's got to do it, or I've got to do it on your behalf. I don't mind.
What
He's right.
colour is an electric field?
It doesn't have a colour. Let's just answer him. No, it doesn't have a colour.
Exactly.
I'll say.
Hold on,
I'll say-
no, guys, you had your chance.
it is.
Stop,
Jesus
stop. Now I'm going to
Christ.
talk to Rumpus. Stop rumpusing the G plus panel, please. Rumpus, you are correct. An electric field wouldn't have any colour, and likewise, it would be a false analogy to draw space-time with a colour. It's a reasonable analogy. I concede you are correct. It's false. It's not a reasonable comparison. Now, can you answer me something? How much time is in a cubic metre?
Understand what dimensions mean.
How much time is there in a cubic metre? Go.
Okay, I'll explain what dimensions are.
No, I just need to know how much time, specifically time, that conceptual stuff called time, how much of it there is in a cubic metre. That's my question. I don't want you to qualify dimensions. I don't need that. I just need the time bit, the conceptual bit. That's the bit I need.
I will
Okay,
answer
go.
the question, but
Go
I
then,
need to
go.
spend 10 seconds explaining what the situation is. So, for instance, if I asked you how far you were up from the ground as one of the dimensions, or to the left of a position, how much you are up or doesn't affect how left you are. Those are different dimensions, so they don't affect one another. You can have a completely separate x coordinate to y coordinate. They don't affect one another. Similarly with time and space, it's another dimension. So time is not in the spatial dimensions.
Oh, really? That's wrong. It's in you. Sorry, not in the spatial dimension. According to Einstein, it's length, breadth, depth, and time as pseudo-Riemannian four space. They're all used together.
In 4 dimensions, and just
Yeah, so we don't have 4 dimensions. We don't have this fourth dimension. My question still stands. How much time in a cubic metre? That was 20 seconds. You haven't got to the answer. You said you'd answer. You lied.
none, because it's a very stupid question.
No, it's not. In Einsteinian pseudo-Riemannian four space, he specifically describes it in those categories as those 4 connected dimensions of length, breadth, depth, and time. Now, this is a geometry. They are absolutely connected in Einsteinian bullshit, but in reality, time's just a concept, and space-time, You're not going to tell me how much time there is in a cubic metre because it's farcical. This fourth dimension doesn't exist. Time is merely a concept, and it is that which doesn't exist, and you can't attribute how much there is in a cubic metre because it's nonsensical and only conceptual. We don't have space-time. You can't bend it. It's not real. It's not a fabric.
Is length connected to width?
No, we're talking about time. Now I realise that you're going to flip between Euclidean and pseudo-Ramonian for space like they're interchangeable, and they're not.
Length and width are different dimensions.
No, there he goes again. Time, not length and breadth. Specifically the bit that's pseudo, because length, breadth and depth we can definitely qualify in reality. The time bit, however, is merely conceptual.
But the depth, you can have a...
Oh, back to the depth. Time. Fourth time I've said it to him.
There's no length and width, is there?
No, we're talking about space-time. The fake bullshit medium made up by Einstein that's not a fabric and doesn't exist, can't attribute a colour, and you can't tell me how much there is in a cubic metre. So we're not talking about length and breadth for the fifth time.
There's no length and breadth, is there?
No, time. No, mate, no. Time is definitely not length and breadth, as you kept equivocating with. So 6 times is too many. Moving on.
How much actual rotation is there in a cubic meter?
No, but I was going to ask Rumpus this.
Hold on. Oh, wait.
Okay. How does mass speed up or slow down events?
So I just didn't quite hear that properly because I was having to flip between this and the... If you like, repeat your question, please. Could you repeat your question, please?
How does mass speed up or slow down events?
Well, because mass changes the shape of space-time, and therefore the time for doing the same thing changes. And we've established this experimentally.
So how does a mathematical... Wait a minute. How does a mathematical construct, which is length, breadth, and width, and time, which is a concept, how does that... I mean, you still haven't explained how that speeds up and slows down events. Length, breadth, and width is mathematical concepts. Time is a concept. How does that speed up and slow down events?
Time is a dimension just like length, breadth, and width. It's no different. Well, different way. You can only travel forwards in time, but it's still another dimension. It's a fourth dimension. Right, but so the mass changes the fabric of space-time, which means that therefore moving along this dimension has changed how much you can move along traveling in a straight line. So if I'm moving along at a certain speed and then I change the shape of the thing that I'm going over, I'm having to travel further than I was before. So in the 3 dimensions that we live in, although you might be traveling at the same speed in the 4th dimensions, it's like if you're in flatland when you only had 2 dimensions. Let's imagine you could only perceive 2 dimensions. You were living in a flatland and you lived on the floor and then you couldn't cope with understanding the 3rd dimension.
Can I stop you for a second? Second? It should be a real simple question. And so far,
well, I did give you an
everything
answer.
You're saying is gibberish.
I told you that. Okay, well, it's a difficult concept. I mean, you've asked a good question, and it's a tricky question. But there is an answer, and that's the fact that space-time, the shape of it, is altered by mass. Mass and energy change the shape of it, which means that going from A to B seems to take longer than it did before.
Sorry, that's not an explanation. That's just a declaration of his fundamentalist religious assertion. He hasn't explained a damn thing. He's just reasserted it as a fundamentalist religious belief.
And I've also said that length, width, and breadth is mathematical concepts, and so is time. And I asked, how does a concept, which is a mathematical construct, cause things to speed up and slow down? It should be a real simple explanation. Either it doesn't or it does. And if it does, how does that occur? You don't have to get long-winded. It should be a simple explanation.
Right. But he's not explaining how.
Hold on, Arwin.
He's just describing.
Arwin, let him respond, please.
It's like if you were traveling across the floor, across your floor in your living room, and then I dug a hole in the middle of your floor and you had to dip into the middle of the floor to get out the other side. You've taken longer, even though you're going at the same speed, to get from one side of your carpet to the other. There's this extra dimension there that you therefore have to travel through. Therefore, you take longer. Therefore, time seems to take longer if you have to go through this dip.
Oh, well, that dip
It's
is
quite
real
complicated.
because I can dig a hole and go into that dip. But space,
Yeah, but it takes you longer.
or
Yeah,
length,
but if you
width,
wanted
and
to travel
breadth
from one side,
are
Rumpus,
mathematical
he didn't interrupt
constructs.
you. Hold on, Paul. He's got
Okay,
about
okay.
3 or 4 words out.
Okay.
I said, if I dig a hole and it takes me longer to go down the hole and back up the hole, that is a real thing. Okay, I'm asking how a mathematical construct or mathematical concept like length, width, and depth
It's
and time
real.
cause things to be in. A hole is a real thing.
It's
a dip in
real.
my
It's
floor
a
is a
real
real
thing.
thing.
He's talking through you
A
again,
carpet
Paul.
on the
Paul,
floor
before
is
you
a
get to
real
the end of
thing.
your conclusion, he's decided to use the religious fundamentalist mute button on you and talk through you with chanting, it's real, it's real. Okay, show it me. The fabric of space-time, I'd like to touch it, hold it, and feel it. In some way, qualify it. Show it me, please. If it's physical and a fabric, I'd like to see it. Go.
Can you touch an electric field?
Don't ask me what I can do. Show me space-time, the fabric thereof, now.
I'm showing you the lot.
No, you're asking me what something else does. That's not showing me anything, you dipshit.
I'm demonstrating.
No, you're not. You're asking me about something different. Show me space-time. That's not asking me something about something else, so you can draw a false
Nathan,
equivalence.
There are lots of things you.
You don't shout down your mic at me. You're distorting. Triggered Fundy.
There are lots of things you believe to be true that you can't touch.
I couldn't care less what you think I believe about. I'm asking you to show me space-time. 5th time.
Show me an electric field.
No, don't ask me to show you something, you fundy religious zealot. You've just told me, shouting through Paul's example, because you're a religious tard, and you needed to mute his example. It's real, it's real, it's real. That's what you did for him. Show it me if it's real. Space-time.
Show me the electric.
No, don't ask me to show something. I've just not shouted through someone else that it's real.
Prove
You have.
to me an electric field.
I'll have to remove
Show
you.
me the electric-
I'll have to remove you. You're a coward. You fundy muted him with the words, it's real, over and over again, you complete coward. Now you're going to back that it's real by showing it.
Show me an electric.
Don't ask me to show you something, you fundy zealot.
Yeah, but you believe.
You said it's real, didn't you?
Do you believe in?
No, don't ask me what I believe, you fundy zealot lying piece of crap. You said it was real. You talked through him using your fundy mute button.
It's the same.
Oh, now he's
It's
going to
the
eat his
same.
mic. Got to shut you up, haven't I, Rumpus? Because you're eating your mic.
Same
You're
as
losing
electric
control.
Field, Nathan. It's the same as electric field. And
It's not an electric field. Space-time is not an electric field. That's a false equivalence fallacy.
it's the same.
No, it's not the same. Electric field is a field around something electric. Space-time is a fabric of convention. It's a concept. It's not real. You can't show it me.
I can't show you electric field either.
You can't show me the effects of an electric field. You can't show me electricity and then put a camera on it that can show it and make it visible. Yeah, you can do all of those things with electricity. This is a false equivalence. You can't show me the fabric of space-time. I'm not asking you to show me electricity fields. I'm asking you to show me something you've blarted through Paul is real over and over again. And now you're drawing false equivalence. It's not real or you'd show it me.
I can't show you electric fields either.
I'm not asking whether you can show me an electric field. You've just told me it's real, it's real, it's real through Paul. So you fundy mute him with a religious assertion about something being real and you can't show it.
Same. The visibility of
Bye-bye,
the field are
you're not
same.
listening to me anymore. You've just decided to just talk rhetoric through every word. You're not listening, you're not having a conversation. This isn't a debate anymore because Rumpus isn't listening. He declared, I'm going to summarise, please don't interrupt me, G+. He just declared, through Paul, whilst being asked a question, that it's real talking about space-time. It's real talking about space-time. I stopped him and told him to stop religious fundy muting Paul with his declaration that space-time is real over and over again, because it's just chanting religious rhetoric. Then I asked him to back that which he'd interrupted Paul. It was so important to make sure the audience knows that it's real. But then when I asked him to actually qualify it as being physical and real, he cannot show it me. So he draws false equivalence over and over again with electricity and whether or not he can show me that. No, mate. I'm asking you to show me something you've declared as real, which is space-time. And you can't. Pseudo-Ramonian for space. Fake. Sham, not real, can't be shown, not physical, not actual, conceptual. Rumpus is a liar when he declares over and over again, it's real because it's not real. He's lying to you and has to obfuscate and talk through me while I point this out. Now, he feels it's perfectly acceptable to talk through Paul with declarations of realness being attributable to space-time. It isn't, because as soon as I challenge him on that, what he's chanting through Paul's demolition of his religious belief of pseudo-space-time, he can't show it to be real. He'll chant it through someone else to mute them, though, but he can't back his bullshit. It is not real. It is conceptual. Space-time isn't real. Rumpus has chanted it to my audience so that they think this conceptual medium, reified in their globe religion, is real when it isn't. So no, Rumpus, you're just wrong, you fundy liar. Come here to deceive my audience, telling them that something's real through my other guests, and then not actually showing it to be real? Telling me you can't show me electricity fields. Well, no, you can't show me space-time as a medium. You can't show me it as a fabric. You can't show that it's real, like you were declaring through Paul. Now that we've got that out of the way, you fundy zealot with your globe belief that isn't real and can't be shown, we'll let Paul make his point. Now I've had my time to thunder through your obfuscation of the truth. We're dealing in truth here. Truth about conceptual mediums is they are not real. Rumpus is here to lie, because he's a globe believer with a religion, and he needs to lie to anybody who's got an audience that space-time, a concept, is real. Now, hopefully Paul hasn't been filibustered out of his point completely. Feel free to carry on, Paul. Sorry to make such a disturbance off the back of your interruption with a declaration that space-time is real by Rumpus. It isn't. I just wanted to clarify that for my audience, because he's a liar.
Well, it's actually funny that he used a real thing to try to illustrate a conceptual thing. You know what I mean? So, but how does something real, like me going down in a hole, take a little longer because it's not covered over, something real to something that still doesn't explain how a conceptual concept of mathematics do anything? Math cannot do anything. Mathematical concepts can't do anything. But it seems like this mathematical construct can speed up and slow down events. But I still don't understand. I still don't get it. I mean, why does it take so long to express a concept? It should be pretty simple. Most concepts and most things that can be explained are explained very simply.
Yeah, he said it's very, very, very complicated. Not just complicated, complete bullshit. He's going to reify something that's not physical. That would be bending space into something physical. It's not. It's not a fabric. It's conceptual, it's mathematical, and you're absolutely right. Mathematics is abstractions. Physics deals with reality. It's dealing with the physical. That's physics. Mathematical abstractions and musings from people like Einstein about pseudo space-time, they're not real, and they're not going to cause anything to do anything ever. In the same way the conceptual bending of space-time won't cause a force, because it's conceptual, and it won't bend any fabric that, it's real, it's real! No, it's not real. But you chanting that shit through my other guests' declarations of actual fact about mathematical abstractions aren't causing things, that'll get obfuscated by liars like Rumpus, declarations of it's real, it's real. No, it's conceptual. You're a liar, Rumpus. Flat out liar. Lying to me, lying to my audience, lying through Paul's truth. You're all being taken in by liars. Not us, flat earthers, you globeheads.
It's funny how he started that out with, oh, it's so stupid to ask what color space-time is, but yeah, he tried to attribute a shape to it.
No,
because that's better.
No, but he didn't do anything. That's the problem, you know. Paul asked him a causal question, and then he proceeded to constantly give metaphorical descriptions, not actually pointing at the actual causal question. But his descriptions were very eloquent. He did that sort of right. That's kind of what I got to learn about it too. The problem is the space-time bending in itself is also kind of an effect, like the little g gravity, the concept, right? So it doesn't actually cause anything. It's just apparently there virtually through the conjuring of the model. So it doesn't do anything. It's just described as happening. That's the only thing that exists about it. This is very baffling to me.
No, it's just mathematical. So, yeah, it's not going to We're not dealing with physics, we're dealing with mathematics. Abstractions, Arwin. So to say, well, that makes no sense, it's baffling that it doesn't exist. Well, no, not at all. It's an abstraction. It's a mathematical description.
Make it simple. Math cannot cause anything.